Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Decoupaging with Michelle. Great to have you here. If you like what you see, remember to hit the subscribe button, please. So today I'm going to show you how I've done this project. This is the end result. But I was at Dollar Tree over the weekend, and I saw these just kind of hanging in the fall section, and I was like, oh, I think I can do something really cool with that. These are okay, but they're just kind of bland. So I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. And you can choose, of course, any design that you want. So we're going to get going on that. So the first thing I do is I remove the string of beads and I put them aside for now. I'll move that old one here. And then I just painted this. I just used the sponge to put that on there. I did use my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white. It adds as a nice coat. I only did one coat on this just because I'm covering with a napkin. I like the white. It's a good base coat to the napkin. So we have that. And you can choose any of your fall designs. I went ahead and had this napkin. This napkin is hard to do any bigger pieces with, but I was like, this is absolutely perfect for this. So what I do is I kind of just play around with it a little bit. I get my Mod Podge handy, ready to rock and roll. So I can kind of see my outline under here of the leaf. And I just kind of decide, gosh, how do I want that pattern to be on here? And I just kind of play with it a little bit until I find something I like. I think I kind of like that. So I'm going to hold this in place here for now. And then I'm going to take my Mod Podge. Remember, I keep mine in my little plastic containers. It makes it easy to use and to store. I just put little amounts in there. Just a normal paintbrush. I'm just going to go ahead and apply this. Actually, I'm going to pull this aside a little bit. And I just put a pretty generous amount of Mod Podge on this leaf. Do this. I did let that paint, I did put that coat of paint on yesterday, so that this coat of paint on this leaf was able to dry. You don't have to wait that long. That's just what I had to do for time. So I'm going to kind of lay this over here and kind of see how I want that to lay. And then you can brush this on if you want. Because it's such a little piece, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take my saran wrap or my plastic wrap and put over my leaf, my wooden leaf under there. And this allows me to really kind of push this down. I go around the edges, make a mark with the napkin, get any of those wrinkles out. That way it doesn't stick. It's an easy way to do it. And then I just get my scissors and I cut around this. Now you need to let this Mod Podge set and let it dry. It should dry for 24 hours is a good rule of thumb. I like to go around real fast before I move on. I want to make sure that all of my edges are actually adhered really nicely. So those look good. Those look good. And I just lightly pull this apart, and if there's any gap, put a little Mod Podge on there and just press it down. I'm going to put a little bit there, I think. That looks pretty good. So then I'm going to set this aside. I'll let this dry for the next 24 hours. And so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. So this is a piece I did last night. It's all dried, adhered nicely. And so there's a couple of different ways that you can get this napkin over here. You can, some people get it wet and then just pull it apart. I take a nail file and I just go around and I file the edge and it just comes apart nicely. I like using the nail file because it gets into some of these hard to reach places. And you just pull that apart. So just keep going around and around and around here until we get all of this removed. I think I need a new nail file. This seems a little dull, but it does the trick. So we're going to keep going around. Now once I finish this, get this edging off, I will go ahead and put a seal on this to protect the napkin and the Mod Podge. And the seal that I use for my art projects of decoupaging is this DuraClear, and I use the satin varnish. They have a variety of different varnishes, whatever is your preference. But I have found that this works really nicely, so I will seal this with that DuraClear when I'm done taking all this off. So, so yeah, just go around and work that napkin off of there. So the next step that I did to make this is I wanted to color the beads. The beads come in this white color. You know, it looks okay. I was going for the autumn colors, maybe make it look like a little bit of corn. So it has some rustic colors in there. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Some people, if you want, I like the kind of partial coverage. If you can see, they're kind of not fully covered, dark spots, light spots. Kind of reminds me of how Indian corn is. I'm from the Midwest, and so we have Indian corn, which looks like that. But some people like a full coverage, and you can certainly do that. There's different varieties. If I want full coverage on my beads, I generally get a like a bamboo skewer and put them on there, and then I take my paintbrush and I'll go ahead and paint it. But today I'll show you the method I use to get this design, which is pretty simple. I just take a small little baggie here, and at first I start with just yellow acrylic paint, and I'm gonna put this in here. It doesn't take a whole lot. That's probably a good amount there. And then I add that's a little yellow for me, so I add to this first batch just a scotch of the brown. Just, if you can see, looks like a taco in there. I just put a little dab of brown in there. And then, because I don't want it too thick, I actually add a little dab of water in there. Not a whole lot, just enough to thin it out a little bit. Makes it easy to do there. Let me get my napkin ready. So this can be a little bit messy when we do this. So I'm going to close this baggie up and just kind of mix this around a little bit. So I'm going to drop in just a couple beads. I'm just going to do 4 beads, I think, this time. I'll do 4 yellow and 4. So I just kind of like mix them out like this. It's very messy, I realize, but it's kind of fun. And then it actually did a pretty decent coat on there. And I'm just going to dump this all on this napkin here. One more, they're kind of stuck in there. And these are actually pretty good coverage on there. I kind of really like how those turned out. I just like to turn them the whole side down. And then the rest of these I want to make a little bit browner. So I use the same baggie. I just put more brown in there. And again, just play around with the color, see what you like. And I might have to put a little bit more brown in there. I'm not sure that that's quite dark enough for what I want. But again, just mix it up here really well. And yeah, actually I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to dump these 2 out here. So yeah, so when I do this, I just always start with the lighter color, and I know I'm going to mix it like that. So those look pretty good. Looks like I'm going to have some paint in the hole. When I have the paint in the hole, I like to get just a thin screwdriver here, and just like to get that paint out of there. It's easier to do it when it's wet than it is when it's dry. So that looks pretty good. So then I just let these dry, and when they're done drying, I'm good to go to make whatever kind of loop that I want. Again, you can use the loop. This was the original loop, how they came. I went ahead and changed mine to just have 4. The great thing about this is you can make it however you want. So I hope that you found this helpful, and please, again, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe, and you have a great day.